What's good, y'all? I'm about to give you guys my fight week breakdown and prediction of Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez. And it's going down this coming Saturday, live on Showtime pay-per-view. And let's get down to the fight, man. You know, I've been wanting to break this fight down for the last couple of years, man, since it even became a thing. And I've gotten a good look at Caleb Plant by now. And I've also gotten a good look at David Benavidez by now, you know? So, based on what I've seen, I think it's going to be a good fight for while it lasts. And I'm predicting a stoppage in this fight. But let me tell you guys the details of what's going to go down. Caleb Plant is a boxer. You know, everybody has seen him in the ring already. I still think he's a very skilled fighter despite that loss to Canelo. But he has mortality, you know, like he is not immortal. He's not this guy that can't be outboxed or anything like that, you know. His skill set, he's a very smooth operator, you know, like in terms of working on the outside and stuff like that, but he doesn't have the requisites of other fighters, you know, like he doesn't have that lateral movement. He doesn't have certain attributes to where like it preserves him later on in the fight, like how most other boxers, you know, like Idris Lara or just those type of fighters, you know, that preserve themselves for a long time while using their legs at the same time as well and keeping their opponent at bay. Caleb Plant can get overwhelmed over time, and you could very much see that even before the Canelo fights. In the Uzcategui fight, you saw him later on in the fight. I mean, he won the fight very convincingly, but at the same time, he was losing rounds in the championship rounds, you know, so early on, he could be very problematic, and it could be very hard to win rounds against him. And you saw that in some parts of the Canelo fight. And some of those rounds, you could have given to Caleb Plant as well. I mean, but Canelo was winning a majority of them. And he got stopped, you know? So I have to say, man, Caleb Plant is definitely, I don't want to say he's a favorite going into the fight against David Benavidez, because based on from what I've seen, it seems like 50-50. And David is a real good fighter, but at the same time, it's very hard for me to see him like winning a lot of rounds like against like these last couple of opponents, you know what I mean? A majority of them. Durrell was able to win rounds against him. The other guy, I forgot his name. Yeah, Ronald Ellis was able to win rounds against him. And I don't see how Caleb Plant can't win rounds against David Benavidez. But David has some pressure on him, and he has a lot of size. Like, this guy could end his career at cruiserweight if he really wanted to, you know. And he could be fighting at light heavyweight at the moment, but he's fighting at middleweight. And I could see a couple of problems that skill-wise he could give Caleb Plant. You know, I could see him countering Caleb Plant with the jab, you know, keeping Caleb Plant at bay with the jab, you know. So I think if David Benavidez is smart, he's going to be using the jab a lot in this fight, you know, using his height, using his range. Caleb Plant is definitely not going to have to be on the back foot in this fight. He's going to have to find ways to get inside, but at the same time, he's got to make David miss a lot of his punches, man. And the problem is Caleb Plant's stamina. And I always thought that Caleb Plant's boxing ability was able to negate like some of those issues, you know, like, because at that point his other opponent would be tired. But clearly I was wrong in the Canelo fight, so that really didn't turn out well for Caleb Plant. And Caleb Plant still has those issues, believe it or not. I can still see it in that performance against Durrell. So I think it will kind of present itself in the Benavidez fight. But Benavidez needs to not be so oblivious or should I say? How do I put it in? How do I put it in? He shouldn't overlook Caleb Plant's punching ability. You know what I mean? Like his ability for punch placement. Because Caleb Plant, even though he's not a big puncher like David Benavidez, Caleb Plant can still land something and hurt Benavidez. Because I've seen Benavidez hit the ground. I've seen Benavidez get hurt a couple of times in some of his fights. So David really has to be careful, you know, like for any shots that Caleb tries to throw at him. So he's not just going to be walking through a lot of Caleb Plant's shots like that, you know, like a hot knife through butter. So my only problem with Caleb Plant is the combinations that David is going to land and how long he waits in there just to counter with David Benavidez, you know. And that's why I said earlier that the stamina of Caleb Plant is going to be pivotal, you know, like in terms of flipping a lot of those shots, you know, from David, you know, those combinations, how long he could actually do that, man, because David throws a lot of punches more than the other super weights besides Dave Morrell. Dave Morrell is another, that's another guy, man, that I would like to talk about in another video. I think he's one of the top guys, man, like in terms of prospects and guys up and coming contenders, because right now he is a contender for one of the other sanctioning bodies. But back to what I was saying, David throws a lot of punches, man, and the problem is Caleb Plant down the stretch, man, like how is he gonna deal with that down the stretch, you know? So I could definitely see him winning like the first 6 rounds, but towards the very end it's gonna be problematic, man. But David can't overlook Caleb Plant's punch placement, man, because all of a sudden David could do a lot of stuff that everybody will just be, you know, pinching their forehead like, why did you do that, David? Why the fuck did you do that shit, man? You know, he's probably gonna make some stupid mistakes in this fight, you know, because it's real personal between these two, and some of them, well, both of them are actually gonna get something off of each other, and it's gonna be pretty stupid if they do, you know what I mean? So we're gonna see mentally how these guys like deal with each other, you know, in terms of like who's gonna fall for the other guy's trick, you know, or who's gonna mentally fold first, basically. And Caleb Plant throughout the press conferences, he's been playing it cool, but at the same time, David has been like putting the pressure on him. And I gotta admit, man, Caleb Plant, yeah, Caleb Plant's a fool, man, for buying that whole website for David Benavidez, you know, just to link it towards his own official website. That was funny as hell, man. That was funny. That was hilarious. But at the same time, it's not changing my prediction on this fight, and it doesn't change the outcome of what I see for Caleb Plant, and that's why I'm picking David Benavidez by stoppage, because I think the volume is going to be too overwhelming for Caleb Plant later on in the fight. And Caleb Plant, even though he's going to be jabbing, he's going to win at least like half of those rounds, you know, like before the stoppage. He's going to be winning half of them, but I think David's jab is going to be a key factor in this fight. And it's going to be pivotal. Everyone's going to be definitely surprised at how Caleb is getting out-jabbed by David. Because it's very possible, man. Because David has a good jab. But Caleb Plant, he has a decent jab too. You know, he has a good jab. You know, he was giving Canelo a lot of problems with it. But I think David, just because of the length, just because of the size of him, man, you know, and there's a lot more snap behind that jab, I think Caleb is going to have a hard time like getting past it, you know, and also trying to, you know, land some counters of his own. And if David tries to go to the body with that jab, then shit, man, that means that he could actually end the fight a lot quicker. But that all depends if he is intelligent enough to actually see that, you know. So I'm picking David Benavidez by a late stoppage. He might be behind on the cards, you know, by like a round or two. And I would have to say like around the 10th or 11th round. Matter of fact, I think it's going to be the 11th round that David stops Caleb Plant. You know, because these guys are going to be in such a close fight, and I can see it just dragging on a little bit because Caleb has some will on him. You know, like he doesn't really like how Benavidez has been talking with that whole situation that got personal between them. So I think Caleb is going to be a little bit more, has a little bit more heart. You know what I mean? Not that he doesn't have any, but he's going to show a lot more will just because it's David. You know, it's a lot more personal. So I'm picking David by the 11th round by stoppage. And let me know what y'all think, man. How do you see this fight going? Is Caleb Plant gonna outbox David Benavidez the whole 12 rounds? Because I could also see that happening too. You know, like if Caleb Plant surprises everybody, he takes it the full 12 rounds. It would be very hard for me to see David winning a unanimous decision, just because Caleb Plant is a little bit more. A little bit more visually pleasing to the judges, you know, in terms of like his punches and stuff. And it would be hard for like the whole well, excuse me, man, I'm mixing up my words a little bit. David is not really known for winning a lot of rounds, and the judges are going to have that conceived notion going into the fight. So I could definitely see Caleb Plant winning a decision as the alternate result, but I'm personally picking Benavidez by a stoppage. Like, it's very hard for me to see Caleb Plant taking it the full 12 rounds. And if he did, then I think he's going to get the decision. But primarily, I'm picking Benavidez by late stoppage, 11th round. And he's going to be kind of behind on the scorecard, you know. Caleb Plant up by like 6 rounds, and David up by like only 3 or 4 rounds. So, definitely going to have to kick it up a notch, and he's probably going to realize that towards the end of the fight, you know, that he has to get Caleb out of there before the 12th round. So let me know what y'all think, and what do y'all want me to talk about, you know, in terms of the other fights. I'm definitely going to talk about the Tank versus Ryan fight. I got a little special surprise for those of you who are interested in I'll just save it for the video, you know. And yeah, that's pretty much it, y'all. Just let me know what y'all think. And a lot of fights coming up this year. Everything's heating up. I'm finally motivated to talk about boxing again, man. So let me know what y'all think. I'm out. Peace.